My name is Miss Ng from the American Film Institute of Librarianness. And this morning we want to share with you a very special episode of Storytime Express. As you know, every great artist has a collection of best of, or classic, or ultimate works of their art. And Miss Rebekah is no exception. What makes Miss Rebekah an exception, however, is that there simply is no way to include all of her best of, greatest, and ultimate hits in one place. And so this morning we offer to you a very few of the most wonderful Miss Rebekah episodes of all time. Enjoy.
Hi everybody, it's Miss Rebekah. I am here to share a story with you. The title is Rumpelstiltskin, as told by Paul Galdone. Rumpelstiltskin. Once upon a time there was a poor miller whose only treasure was his beautiful daughter. Now it happened that the miller had to go on an errand to the king. The miller wanted to make himself appear important, so he said, "I have a daughter who can spin straw into gold." "That is a marvelous art," replied the king. "If your daughter is as clever as you say, bring her to my palace tomorrow, and I will put her to a test." When the king said that, the miller regretted his boast, but he knew he must obey the king's command. As soon as the miller's daughter arrived at the palace, the king took her into a room which was full of straw. He gave her a spinning wheel and some bobbins and said, "Now set to work, and if by dawn tomorrow you do not have this straw spun into gold, you must die." He locked the door and left the miller's daughter alone in the room. There she sat, for she had no idea how straw could be spun into gold. As the hours passed, she grew more and more frightened. At last she began to weep. All at once the door opened and in came a little man. "Good evening," he said. "Why are you crying so?" "Ah, alas," answered the girl, "I have to spin straw into gold and I do not know how to do it." "What will you give me," said the little man, "if I do it for you?" "My necklace," said the girl. The little man took the necklace and seated himself in front of the wheel. Whir, 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 it went, and in 3 turns the bobbins was full. He put on another, and whir, whir, whir. The second bobbin was full too, and so it went until dawn, when all the straw was spun, and all the bobbins were full of gold. Then the little man slipped out the door. When the king arrived and saw the gold, he was astonished and delighted, but his heart only became more greedy. He had the miller's daughter taken into a larger room, which was also full of straw. "If you value your life," he said, "you must spin this straw into gold by dawn tomorrow." The miller's daughter looked at the pile of straw and began to cry. Just then the door opened and the little man appeared again. "What will you give me," said the little man, "if I spin this straw into gold for you?" "The ring on my finger," answered the girl. The little man took the ring and began to turn the wheel again. Whir, whir, whir. By next morning he had spun all the straw into glittering gold. The king rejoiced at the sight, but still he was not satisfied. He had the miller's daughter taken into an even larger room full of straw, and he said, "You must spin this too in the course of a night, and if you succeed, you shall be my wife." As he locked the door, he thought, "She may only be a miller's daughter, but I am sure I could not find a richer wife in the whole world." When the girl was alone, the little man came for the 3rd time and said, "What will you give me if I spin this straw for you also?" "I have nothing left of value," said the girl. Then promise me, if you should become queen, to give me your first child." "Who knows whether that will ever happen," thought the miller's daughter. So, not knowing how else to help herself, she promised to give the little man what he wanted. Grinning, he sat down at the wheel and once again, whir, 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 spun more straw into gold. When the king came in the morning and saw all that gold, he arranged a grand marriage, and the beautiful miller's daughter became the queen. A year later, the queen gave birth to a beautiful baby daughter. She was so happy with the child that she never once thought about the little man. But one day he suddenly appeared in her room and said, "Now give me what you promised." The queen was horrified and offered the little man all the riches of the kingdom if he would let her keep the child. But the little man said, "No, something alive is dearer to me than all the treasures in the world." At that, the queen began to sob so loudly that the little man took pity on her. "I will give you 3 days," he said. "If by the end of that time you find out my name, then you shall keep your child." The queen stayed up the whole night thinking of all the names she had ever heard, and she sent a messenger out to search far and wide for other names. When the little man came to the palace the next day, the queen began with Caspar, Melchior, and Balthazar, and then she said all the names she knew, one after the other. But to each one the little man said, "That is not my name." On the second day, the queen learned the names of everyone living near the palace. When the little man came again, she selected the most unusual ones. "Perhaps your name is Short Ribs," she said, "or Sheepshanks, or Lace Leg?" But the little man always answered, "That is not my name." On the third day, the messenger returned and told the queen, "I have not been able to find a single new name. But as I approached a high mountain at the end of the forest, I saw a little house. Before the house a fire was burning, and round about the fire a little man was jumping. He hopped first on one leg and then the other and shouted, 'Today I brew, tomorrow I bake, the next day the young queen's child I take. Soon far and wide will spread the fame that Rumpelstiltskin is my name.'" How glad the queen was when she heard the messenger's story. She repeated the name Rumpelstiltskin over and over. Soon afterward, the little man came in and asked, "Now, queen, what is my name?" At first she said, "Is it Conrad?" "No." "Is it Harry?" "No." "Then perhaps your name is Rumpelstiltskin." "Oh, the devil told you that! The devil told you that!" cried the little man. In his rage, he stamped his right foot on the ground so hard that he sank to his waist. Then he stamped his left foot so hard that he disappeared from sight. The earth fell in on top of him, and Rumpelstiltskin was never seen again. The end, my friend. My friends, that was Rumpelstiltskin. This is Miss Rebekah with Shaler North Hills Library.
Hey, good morning. What's going on, Miss Rebekah?
Hey, good morning, Miss Ing. How are you doing on this Thursday dancing day?
Well, I'm super excited because I love dance party. And I wondered, are you reading a story to Miss Eileen?
You know what? I am reading a story to Miss Eileen, and
Oh, I know you did that already, but could you, since you're going to read it to Miss Eileen, could you read it anyway? Could I film you when you're reading it? Please? Dude, it's such a good book!
You know what? Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
Because I love this story.
Okay.
The story is stunning. The illustrations are vibrant and beautiful.
Yeah.
And I just love to share it with Miss Eileen, of course.
Yeah.
And anybody out there who happens to be interested in hearing.
Do you care, Miss Eileen? Like if I film? All right. Okay, cool.
Weird
Cool.
and jealous, are you?
All right. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, I'll watch it together. Because Oh, yeah.
Awesome.
I know. You're very kindly.
You are. My friends, the title of this story is Sulwe, and the author is Lupita Nyong'o. Now, if you're a fan of lists and whatnot, or just, listen fantastic things in general, you may already be aware of this piece of magic.
All right, cool.
So here we go.
All right, cool.
Sulwe by Lupita Nyong'o, illustrated by Vashti Harrison. Sulwe was born the color of midnight. She looked nothing like her family, not even a little, not even at all. Mama was the color of dawn, Baba the color of dusk, and Mitch, her sister, was the color of high noon. Hardly anyone at school looked like Sulwe either. People gave her sister Mitch pet names like Sunshine and Ray and Beauty. People gave Sulwe names like Blackie and Darky and Night. Sulwe felt hurt every time, so she hid away while her sister made lots of friends. Sulwe dreamed of being the same color as her sister. She wanted real friends, too. So she got the biggest eraser she could find and tried to rub off a layer or two of her darkness. That really hurt. She crept into Mama's room and helped herself to her makeup. Oh no, she would hear about this from Mama. Sulwe decided to work from the inside out and ate only the lightest, brightest foods. With a stomachache, she went to bed early and turned to God for a miracle. Dear Lord, why do I look like midnight when my mother looks like dawn? Please make me as fair as the parents I'm from. I want to be beautiful, not just to pretend. I want to have daylight. I want to have friends. If you hear me, my Lord, and would like to comply, may I wake up as bright as the sun in the sky. Amen. When Mama came in to wake her for school the next morning, Sulwe rose to find not a trace of daylight in her midnight skin. Sulwe told Mama everything. Mom asked, "What is your name?" "Sulwe," she muttered. "And what does it mean?" "Star," Sulwe whispered. Brightness is not in your skin, my love. Brightness is just who you are. As for beauty, Mama said, rubbing Sulwe's stomach the way she always did to comfort her, you are beautiful. Sulwe sighed. Well, you are beautiful to me, but you can't rely on what you look like to make you feel beautiful, my sweet. Real beauty comes from your mind and your heart. It begins with how you see yourself, not how others see you. Now, up you get and out you go. How could she, as dark as she was, have brightness in her? How could she have beauty when no one but her mother seemed to see it? How could she be a star? That night, a shooting star appeared at Sulwe's window. The night sent me, the star said. Come with me. Sulwe hopped on the star and whoop, off they went. Long ago, at the beginning of time, said the star, there was night and day, and they were sisters. They loved each other very much, but people didn't treat the sisters the same. People gave Day pet names like lovely and nice and pretty. People gave Night names like scary and bad and ugly. She felt hurt every time. Well, Night got fed up and walked right off the earth. Day stayed behind and enjoyed making everybody happy in the sun. But then Day grew too long. Day began to really miss her sister. So did everybody else. There had to be a way to get her back. Day set off to find Night, and she did. I miss you, said Day. I miss you too, said Night, but you don't know what it's like to be treated badly for being dark. You're right, I don't, Day replied, but what I do know is that we need you just the way you are. Come and see. Night returned and the people rejoiced. We need the darkest night to get the deepest rest. We need you so that we can grow and dream and keep our secrets to ourselves. The stars chimed in. Brightness isn't just for daylight. Light comes in all colors, and some light can only be seen in the dark. While day had a golden glow, with night everything had a silver sheen, elegant and fine. Day told her sister, when you are darkest is when you are most beautiful. It's when you are most you. Could it be that night did not need to change? Not even a little? Not even at all? Now that night and day were back together, a little bit of night returned to the day in the form of shadows, and a little bit of day returned to night in the form of moonlight. They were inseparable from that moment on, and promised to celebrate the brightness in each other, whether people chose to see it or not. You see, the star explained, we need them both on their sunniest day and their darkest night, and every shade in between. Together, they make the world we know, light and dark, strong and beautiful. Sulwe rose the next morning, beaming. There would be no hiding any more. She belonged out in the world, dark and beautiful, bright and strong. And if she ever needed a reminder of her brightness, she could look up at the sky in the darkest night to see for herself. Sulwe felt beautiful inside and out. The end. And my friend, there's just a little note from the author I'm going to read. Author's note. Much like Sulwe, I got teased and taunted about my night-shaded skin. I prayed to God that I would wake up with paler skin. I tried all sorts of things to lighten my complexion. My mother told me often that I was beautiful, but she's my mother. Of course she's supposed to think that. It wasn't until I was much older that my feelings about my skin changed. It helped to see darker-skinned women being celebrated for their beauty. If they were beautiful, I could be too. I began to see myself differently. Both Sulwe and I had to learn to see our beauty. I hope that more and more children begin their lives knowing that they are beautiful, that they can look to the beauty in the world and know that they are part of it. And yet what is on the outside is only one part of being beautiful. Yes, it is important to feel good about yourself when you look in the mirror, but what is even more important is working on being beautiful inside. That means being kind to yourself and to others. That is the beauty that truly shines through. The journey I went on was very different from Sulwe's nighttime adventure, but the lesson was the same. There is so much beauty in the world and inside you that others are not awake to. Don't wait for anyone else to tell you what is beautiful. Know that you are beautiful because you choose to be. Know that you always were and always can be. Treasure it and let it light the way in everything you do. The end. And that's a picture of the author and the illustrator. Well, and I guess she's right on the back of the book in a bigger picture too. My friends, I love this story. I think it's stunning and needed, and I hope you enjoy it too. Did you? But more
What did you think?
Eileen, what did you think?
Oh, that was such a wonderful book.
I hope you enjoyed
I'm
it,
going to
Miss
put it on
Eileen.
my reading list,
Yeah.
and it's bringing me to tears. It's such a beautiful story.
I'm happy you enjoyed it, Miss
Thank
Eileen.
you.
And anybody else out there.
Thank you, Miss Rebekah. Thank you.
Bye, friends.
Bye.
Hello, everybody. It's good to see you all again. My name is Miss Rebekah, and I'm sharing another story with you all. Happy Spring Eve. Now, our first story is Show and Tell by Robert Munch. Benjamin wanted to take something really neat to school for Show and Tell, so he decided to take his new baby sister. He went upstairs, picked her up, and put her in his knapsack, and walked off to school. But when Ben sat down, his baby sister finally woke up. She was not happy inside the knapsack and started to cry. Wah, 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 wah. The teacher looked at him and said, Benjamin, stop making that noise. Ben said, "That's not me, that's my baby sister. She's in my knapsack. I brought her in for show and tell." "Yikes," said the teacher. "You can't keep a baby in a knapsack." She grabbed Ben's knapsack and opened it up. The baby looked at the teacher and said, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." "Don't worry," said the teacher. "I know how to take care of babies." She picked it up and rocked it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Unfortunately, the teacher was not the baby's mother and didn't rock quite right. The baby cried even louder. "Wah, wah, 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 wah." The principal came running in. He looked at the teacher and said, "Stop making that noise." The teacher said, "It's not me, it's Sharon, Ben's new baby sister. He brought her for show and tell. She won't shut up." The principal said, "Don't worry, I know how to make kids be quiet." He picked up the baby and said, "Hey, you, be quiet." The baby did not like that at all. It screamed really loudly. "Wah, wah, 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 wah." The principal said, "What's the matter with this baby? It must be sick. I'll call a doctor." The doctor came with a big black bag. She looked in the baby's eyes, and she looked in the baby's ears, and she looked in the baby's mouth. She said, "Don't worry. I know what to do. This baby needs a needle." So the doctor opened her bag, got out a short needle and said, "Nah, too small." The doctor opened her bag, got out a longer needle and said, "Nah, too small." The doctor opened her bag, got out a really long needle and said, "Nah, too small." The doctor reached into her bag, got out an enormous needle and said, "Just right." When the baby saw that enormous needle, it yelled as loudly as it could, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." Ben said, "What's the matter with this school? Nobody knows what to do with a baby." He ran down to the principal's office and called his mother on the phone. He said, "Help, help, help! You have to come to school right away." The mother said, "Ben, your little sister is lost. I can't come to school. I have to find her." "She's not lost," said Ben. "I took her to school in my knapsack." "Oh, no!" yelled the mother. She ran down the street and into the school. The principal and the teacher and the doctor were standing around the baby, and the baby was yelling as loudly as possible, "Wah, wah, 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 wah." The mother picked up the baby and rocked it back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. The baby said, and went to sleep. "Oh, thank you," said the principal. "That baby was making so much noise. It was just making me feel sick." "Sick?" said the doctor. "Sick? Did that man say he was sick? He must need a needle." So the doctor opened her bag, got out a short needle, and said, "Nah, too small." The doctor opened her bag, got out a longer needle, and said, "Nah, too small." The doctor opened her bag, got out a really long needle, and said, "Nah, too small." The doctor reached into her bag, got out an enormous needle, and said, "Just right." The principal looked at that enormous needle and said, "Wah, wah, 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 wah," and ran out the door. "Now," said the mother, "it's time to take this baby home." "Right," said Ben. "You can use my knapsack." "What a good idea," said the mother. The end, my friends. See you next time. Bye. Hello, it's Miss Rebekah. I am sharing a story with you now. The title is Turtles Race with Beaver, as told by Joseph Bruchak and James Bruchak. Here we go. Turtles Race with Beaver, a traditional Seneca story. voice missing. I have to stop.
Hello, Miss Rebekah.
Hello, Miss Ingrid, and hello, my Scott Primary Kindergarten friends. It is good to be with you virtually, myself and the
I know.
child.
I was gonna say you gotta. Yeah, I just can't take my eyes off of.
Because
that.
it's stunning.
Dude,
For those of you may know this fabulous little creature is the child, or Baby Yoda, or maybe by another name, but I didn't watch season 2 yet, so. And
so cute.
they're telling us, read. This is the way. Just like the Mandalorians.
Yeah, love it. Love it.
I digress. My friends, my name is Miss Rebekah with the Shaler North Hills Library, and I am just here to share one of my favorite stories with you. You may have heard it before. It's fine if you did. It's fine if you didn't. Happy March. We're getting ready for spring.
Today's Dr. Seuss's birthday. I didn't even think about that.
I didn't either at all.
Yeah.
I just know it's March 2nd,
Yeah, March 2nd.
and it's Tuesday.
Isn't it today?
Yes.
Yeah. Miss Joyce is here
Today's
too.
Hi, everyone.
Yay!
Yes, it is Dr. Seuss's birthday. I do believe it's right across America.
It is. Oh, yeah.
Yes, it is.
Dance Across America.
It's Tuesday.
True.
My friends, Jabari Jumps by Gaia Cornwall. Now, I know we're not ready to swim right now, but boy, can't you just wait?
Oh, yes.
Jabari Jumps. I'm jumping off the diving board today, Jabari told his dad. Really, said his dad. The diving board was high and maybe a little scary, but Jabari had finished his swimming lessons and passed his swim test, and now he was ready to jump. I'm a great jumper, said Jabari, so I'm not scared at all. Jabari watched the other kids climb the long ladder. They walked all the way out to the end of the board, as big as tiny bugs. Then they stood on the edge, they spread their arms and bent their knees and sprang up, 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 and then they dove down, 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 down. Splash! Looks easy, Jabari said. But when his dad squeezed his hand, Jabari squeezed back. Jabari stood at the bottom of the ladder. He looked up. You can go before me if you want, he told the kid behind him. I need to think about what kind of special jump I'm going to do. Jabari thought and thought and thought. Jabari started to climb, up and up. This ladder is very tall, he thought. Are you okay? Called his dad. I'm just a little bit tired, said Jabari. Maybe you should come down and take a tiny rest, said his dad. A tiny rest sounded like a good idea. When he got to the bottom, Jabari remembered something. Oh, I forgot to do my stretches, he said to his dad. Stretching is very important, said his dad. I think tomorrow might be a better day for jumping, Jabari said. They looked up at the diving board together. It's okay to feel a little scared, said his dad. Sometimes I feel a little scared. I take a deep breath and tell myself I am ready. And you know what? Sometimes it stops feeling scary and feels a little like a surprise. Jabari loves surprises. Who doesn't? Jabari took a deep breath and felt it fill his body from the ends of his hair right down to the tips of his toes. Jabari looked up. He began to climb. Up and up and up and up and up. Until he got to the top, Jabari stood up straight. He walked all the way to the end of the board. His toes curled around the rough edge. Jabari looked out as far as he could see. He felt like he was ready. I love surprises, he whispered. He took a deep breath and spread his arms and bent his knees. Then he sprang up off the board, flying. Jabari hit the water with a splash. Down, down, down he went, and then back up. Jabari, you did it, said his dad. I did it, said Jabari. I am a great jumper. And you know what? What, said his dad. Surprise double backflip next.
Dude.
And my friends.
Every time I love that book.
I love that
I
book
love it.
too.
I
listen to it
it's
all the
so
time.
good.
It is a good one. It really captures that feeling of
Yeah.
Well, my friends, thank you so much. I've really enjoyed spending this time with you. See you all next time. Happy March.
Let's see the child one more time.
Yeah. Jabari and the child.
Bye.